So almost as if you're in your final relaxation really, and just starting from a place of quiet, let the body go, and using the just first few moments to bring everything together and connect with your breathing. So most of what we're going to do this morning is really focused on linking movement and breath, using the breath to transition, trying to think that we don't move without either an in-breath or an out-breath. So just using this time to really notice your breath. Gently closing your mouth unless you have a cold, breathing through the nose and watching the breath come and go. And we'll start with a short, very simple breathing exercise, but just making the breath longer than it would be normally, deeper than it would be normally. Watching as your front makes space for your breath. So just making sure that that rib cage really expands as you breathe in and the belly inflates. And then as you breathe out, really making an effort to get rid of all the breath. And then in your own time, we're just going to work into 10 breaths of breathing in for 5, holding for 2, and breathing out for 7, which I won't count because I think everybody breathes at a slightly different rate. Obviously keeping the count steady, don't hurry the 7 because that sort of defeats the object. So you're breathing in for 5, holding for 2, and breathing out for 7. So 10 times. You might want to use your fingers to count. Keeping it steady and just keeping the mind on the breath. Trying not to think about other things. Keep observing the breath as it comes and goes. Maybe noticing a difference in temperature as it enters your nostrils. It might be slightly cooler, maybe noticing when it comes back out, the air is slightly warmer. Just in your own time. In for 5, holding for 2, and out for 7. When you've done your 10, and only when you've done it, just bending the knees and having the feet flat on the mat and putting your hands on your belly just to let me know you're done. So you can just use your feet to roll the bolster forward and out of the way. So just let your breath go back to maybe a 4-count breath. And in these first warm-up exercises, we're just going to try and keep the breath steady. So thinking about not interrupting the flow of the breath, following my cue, but in your own time and with your own breath. And just for a moment, I want you to try and identify some deep internal muscles. So imagine the bony bit of your pelvis and the two bones that you can feel that your sitting bones. While you're lying here, see whether you can have that feeling that you're squeezing them together. So as you exhale, you're trying to squeeze those two sitting bones together. You might not find it first time, you might get a really good squeeze in there. It's like a deep internal tight pair of trousers that you're trying to zip up inside. You'll probably find that your glutes will engage if you do that, and you'll probably find that your navel sucks down as you do that. But using that strength, the next time you breathe out, if you bring your hands down by your sides, I want you to use that squeeze to lift your hips up towards the ceiling into a gentle bridge pose. So in your own time, on your next out breath, lifting the hips up into bridge. And while you're in bridge, taking good care of the back, keeping that deep internal squeeze to keep the lift. So not using the strength of your legs, but feeling you're lifting through your middle. Just taking a breath here, and then the next out breath, really slowly placing the spine back down on the mat so that it's nice and straight. So crossing your right foot over your left knee, drawing your legs in towards you, feed your hands around the back of the thigh, and just carry on with your 4 count lengthened breathing here. So just getting a stretch in your right hip. So if you've got a little bit more, you could probably take your hands around the front of your shin. And just trying to breathe the release. So on your exhale, you're trying to let that hip go a little bit. And if you've got any more, every exhale, you might have a little bit to draw in. But as long as you're getting the stretch in the right hip, doesn't matter. So always having that feeling that we move with the breath. The next time you breathe in, you're going to release the hands and allow the foot to come back down on the mat. Open your arms out to the side, and as you breathe out, just bringing your top foot down onto the floor beside you. So it's coming over to the left, I think. Just checking with Ian. This is my nightmare because I'm lefts and rights. Please tell me when I go wrong with lefts and rights. So gentle twist here. You can take the gaze to the opposite arm and breathe. So your next breath in, you're going to bring the knees back to center and uncross the feet. Bringing the feet back into position to go into another bridge. So uncrossing them, and the next time you breathe out, using that deep internal squeeze to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. So it's the out and the squeeze. So keeping the squeeze to keep the hips lifted. And then the next out breath, really slowly and carefully placing the spine back down on the mat, gently tucking the tailbone in. Other leg, other ankle crosses over. Drawing the knees in towards you, clasp around the back of the thigh. Can take the shin if you've got a little bit more. And just breathe into the stretch. So trying to find a bit of release on the out breath. So on your next breath in, you're releasing the hands and the foot comes back down onto the mat, opening the arms out, and as you breathe out, bringing the foot down onto your right side. Honestly, anybody who does my classes is going to really laugh at this. A gentle twist. So next breath in, the legs come back to center, uncross the foot. Bringing the feet back into position for your last bridge here, arms by your side. Find that internal squeeze and use it to lift your hips into bridge pose. Again, thinking about the squeeze, thinking about the lift coming from the middle, and not necessarily the strength of the legs. Just press into your big toes just to have a little bit of engagement with the feet. And then next out breath, carefully placing the spine back down, nice and straight, gently tucking in. Keeping the arms by your side, just draw your legs in towards you, draw your thighs towards your belly, keep your arms by your side and just see how far you can get them without using your hands. See if you can lift your tailbone off the mat, get a bit of a stretch around the base of the spine. Then you can bring your arms round and hug the knees in towards you. You might want to do a little bit of rocking from side to side here, just finding the muscles, the fleshy bits around your spine and giving them a bit of a massage. And then ending up rocking and rolling backwards and forwards, all rolling onto your side and bringing yourselves up to sit. And then either sweeping your legs around the side or cross and rolling over onto your knees and coming onto all fours. So this is going to be much more working with the breath. I don't think I'm going to go that way. And really feeling like you're taking the whole breath for every movement here. It's quite a straightforward cow, cat, dog, child warm-up. So I'll talk you through it and then we'll sort of do it with the breath, but I really want you to think about making each pose last the length of the in-breath or the out-breath. So we're starting with a flat back tabletop. Make sure your hands are positioned under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. Take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, just pushing the top of the back into your cat. So stretching through the shoulder blades and letting the head drop and suck the tummy up. As you breathe in, coming back round into a cow. So keep the front engaged, keep the tummy engaged so you don't collapse in the back and look up. That's a breath in. Turning the toes, and as you breathe out, pushing yourself into a gentle downward facing dog. And then breathing in, gently lower the knees back down to tabletop. And breathe out and push yourselves back into pose of the child. See if you can get a little stretch down the base of the spine here. So coming back forward as you breathe in. And then breathing out into your cat. Breathing into your cow. Breathing out into your downward facing dog. Breathing in, back to knees. And then breathing out into pose of the child. So breathing in, coming forward. And breathing out your cat. Breathe into your cow. And breathe out your downward facing dog. Breathing in, knees come down. And breathing out, pose of the child. Breathing in, coming forward. And breathing out your cat. Breathing in your cow. And breathing out your dog. Breathing in, coming forward. And breathing out your child. So just do one more round of that, using your own breath. So if you want to extend at any point, like in the dog or the child, you can just, well, we're going to end up in the child, but you can actually extend that out breath a little bit to get the bigger stretch. So just remember, it's cat, cow, dog, child. And stopping in pose of the child, finding space for your breath. So you've got your tummy on your thighs, so where can you find room? You might feel it comes out of the sides, you might feel there's space in the base of the spine, but keeping the breath nice and long. So on your next breath, bringing yourselves back to tabletop, breathing in, coming back into tabletop, and breathing out, pushing yourselves back into downward facing dog. So just taking a couple of breaths in here. So if you just bend your knees a little bit for me here and then push your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Opening your shoulders out towards the side of the room. Keep breathing and just really gently pushing those sitting bones up to get a stretch in the backs of the legs. Really slowly now, and being very mindful of your breath, starting to walk the dog. So thinking about when each heel goes down, it's with an out breath. So you get a nice stretch in the calves, in your Achilles. And yeah, you can turn that into stretching around the sides, a sort of a movie stretchy, yawny dog. And then turning that walk on the spot into a walk forward, feet to hands. Stopping in Uttanasana in your forward fold. Just, first of all, just get your hands and place them flat on the mat and have your knees as bent as you need to. There should be contact with your belly and your thighs. Let your head go. So you're almost pushing into your hands here and then straightening the arms. Then bringing your hands onto your hips. Squeeze your elbows up towards the ceiling. At the same time, you're going to push your chest through, suck your tummy in, and the next time you breathe in, coming up to stand through a flat back. Good. So come to the front of your mat and find your mountain pose. So you really want to, first of all, maybe pick up all your toes and see if you can put them down one at a time, making space between the toes, a nice flat platform. Push into the big toe and lift through the arches of the feet. Make sure your knees are soft. Find that internal strength again. And when you're standing up, you can really feel it switch on the glutes. So see if you can squeeze the sitting bones together as you're standing here. Get a little bit of lift. Really lift through the spine. Shoulders are down. Lift through the top of the head. Root into the feet. So you're going to breathe in and reach the arms up. And coming down with soft knees, reaching forward with the chest, exhale as you fold down and the hands come down on the mat. So bringing your hands up to your shins, come into a halfway lift. So here you want to tuck the chin in. Don't forget the neck is an extension of the spine. Keep the knees a little bit soft. Try and keep the shoulder blades squeezed together. Push the sitting bones back to the back of the room. And then breathe out and folding back into the legs. You're going to breathe in and step your right foot to the back of the mat and come all the way up into a high lunge. Bring the arms around to the back, clasp the fingers, draw the hands down away from your backside and open through the chest and breathe. Keep the breathing nice and steady. So you're going to release the hands, maybe put them on your hips, and on your next out breath with control, lowering the right knee down to the mat. So you can put the top of the foot on the mat here. So we're going to come into crescent moon here. So crescent moon can be this with a right angle in your knee and the arms raised, or if you think you've got a little bit more, you could shuffle the foot forward and sink into the hips a little bit. No pinching in the back, so keep the front nice and strong. Lift the arms up and breathe. So bringing the arms down onto your front thigh, and on your next out breath, you're going to bring your backside back to your heel into Maha Mudra. Now you might need to grab your brick here because this can be a bit uncomfortable. If you find your heel in there very uncomfortable in Maha Mudra, pop the brick underneath your left backside. Yeah, like that, absolutely. And that's quite comfortable actually, isn't it? Yeah, really comfortable. So just keep the front extended knees soft and just lift up and see if you can bring yourself forward over the extended leg. But remember, we're going forward and not down. So you want to keep the back straight, good. Keep breathing. And your next breath in, you're going to bring your hands forward to either side of the front foot. Bring that left leg all the way back into three-legged dog. Foot comes down, knees come down, and exhale into pose of the child. Just taking one or two breaths here, finding space for your breath. And breathing in, coming back onto all fours. Breathing out, turn the toes and come into downward facing dog. And then either walking or jumping the feet back to the hands. Stopping in your forward fold just for a couple of breaths. Maybe take the elbows here, lengthen the head down towards the mat. And then bringing your hands back onto your hips. Squeeze the elbows up towards the ceiling, suck the tummy in, push the chest out. As you breathe in, bring yourselves back up to stand. Good, do the other side. So breathing in and reaching up, and breathing out and folding forward. Breathing in, come into your halfway lift. Just spend a couple of breaths here. So tuck the chin in, squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the sitting bones to the back of the room. And then exhaling and folding into your legs. Breathing in, the left foot comes back and you come all the way up into a high lunge. Bring the arms around, and this time with the fingers, wherever they're comfortable, move them up one, just so it feels a bit weird. Draw the hands down and away from the backside and open the chest. Good. So see if you can find that squeeze there as well. I should have said that on the other side. So it will strengthen the back leg and switch the glutes on. And then you can release the hands and then really slowly lower the back knee down to the ground and coming into crescent moon on this side. So again, the most important thing here is there's no pinching in the back. If you've got any sort of knee injury, you can pop a blanket under your knee. If you think you've got a little bit more and you're not going to compromise your back, you can sink into the hips a little bit, but try and keep the front really switched on. And then you're going to breathe in and reach the arms up. So next breath in, the arms come down, and next breath out. Ease yourself back into your Mahamudra pose using the brick if it's uncomfortable. So keeping the front knee soft and working in to folding forward over the leg. Nose to shin, nose to toes, definitely not face to knee. And then walking the hands forward to beside the front foot. As you breathe in, step that right foot and shoot it into a three-legged dog. Bring the right foot down as you breathe out. Breathing in, knees come down. And breathing out, your pose of the child. So one more breath in as you come back onto all fours. Turn the toes, coming back into downward facing dog as you breathe out. And then bringing the feet forward, step walking or jumping. Stopping in your forward fold. In fact, heel toe your feet out to the side. Bring yourselves down into your best squat. So your heels might be off the ground, but that's fine. Lengthen through the top of the head and the tailbone. And then with control, we're going to reach the arms forward and without bruising your coccyx, using your hand if you need to, see if you can come to a controlled sit down, which teacher can't do. Thank you, Olga, beautifully demonstrated. So we're just going to finish off with a Lord of the Fishes, Matsyendrasana, which I can never say properly. So bringing your left leg over your right, taking your right arm around the left leg. So when we turn and twist, the left hip is going to want to follow the left shoulder back. So we're going to try and keep the left hip square and lift and turn. So really think about as you breathe in, lift up, and as you breathe out, twist. On each breath, trying to just get some space, although you're not getting space, but breathing in for the lift and out for the twist. Keep the breathing steady. Next breath in, just to get a little bit more lift. And exhale as you bring yourselves back to center. You could even go all the way around the other way. Straighten out the legs. Shake them out. Change legs. So left arm goes round. So remember that right hip is going to want to follow the right shoulder round. So trying to keep it square as you breathe in and lift And breathe out and twist. So this is one of those poses where it's just really easy to just kind of like hang out and do nothing. So you really sometimes have to make a bit of effort to keep working it. So keep thinking about that. Lift on the in-breath and twist on the out-breath. So one more breath as you breathe in and exhale, coming round to centre, maybe even going all the way around to the other side. And then coming back to centre, shaking out your legs, and just very slowly, let's do a slow lower down. Trying to keep your feet flat on the mat if you can, stretching your arms out in front of you, breathing in your own time, and then breathing out very slowly with control, rolling yourself down, hello plant, onto the mat. And getting ready for your Shavasana. So if you would like a bolster, or if at home you've got a cushion you could put underneath your knees. Niki, would you like one? Olga, do you want to? Are you okay? Yep. I like something underneath the knees. It just takes the weight of your legs out of your spine and lets your back relax. Remembering that this is just as important part of your practice as all the other poses you've done. It is an asana, it is a pose, Shavasana, corpse pose, so finding stillness and just staying inside your body and being aware of your body. So watching your heart, being awareness of how your heart is beating, and watching your breath, allowing it to come and go, and just finding stillness in your mind and your body.